It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 5 films released on November 6, 2009. And since Halloween has come and gone, it means that you're going to hear, for the next 7 weeks, you're going to hear these two magical words.
Ah! Bug.
Not the words I was expecting to hear, or I was expecting maybe a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, but geez, what a Scrooge. That's probably the most I've gone to open up a movie ever, and I regret that decision. So let's just go ahead and get to the biggest release of the weekend, and that is, of course, Jim Carrey starring in Robert Zemeckis' adaptation of A Christmas Carol.
What do you want with me?
You will be haunted by 3 spirits. I'd rather not. I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Haunt me no longer!
What if you were given a second chance to get your life right? This holiday season, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future will give one man that chance. This November, Walt Disney Pictures and Image Movers Digital invite you to experience the classic tale like you've never seen it before in Disney Digital 3D and IMAX 3D. Disney's A Christmas Carol.
I don't think I need to tell you what the story of A Christmas Carol is. If you haven't even read The Christmas Carol story by Charles Dickens, or if you've never watched the show before, which I've covered this several times, then I'd like to welcome you back out of that rock you've been hiding in for the last couple of years. But short and simple, story of Ebenezer Scrooge as he's being haunted by 3 spirits in order to uplift his Christmas spirit and basically get him on the right track to his life around. You know, he treats people around him so shamefully, and one night he's visited by his former partner, Jacob Marley, a partner who works with him at the counting house, and he says, "You'll be haunted by 3 spirits, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future," all played by Carrey in this movie. And the film, of course, uses motion capture animation, same kind that was used in the Polar Express. This is the 3rd time Disney has taken on the Christmas Carol storyline. Mickey's Christmas Carol, The Muppet Christmas Carol. It's the first Carrey film in a Disney movie, and it's also his 2nd Christmas movie after How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And, of course, Robert Zemeckis also gave us The Polar Express, which was also a big holiday hit in the decade. One of the few holiday hits we had in this decade. So yeah, this is overall pretty much the same basic story of A Christmas Carol instead of following the previous adaptations in the last 30 years. This one basically follows the original story, which kind of surprised me when I heard that it was actually written as kind of a horror story, which is really what you need going into this movie. This movie can get pretty intense at times. I mean, there's definitely moments in here that are just so creepy in here. I mean, yeah, it's definitely one where, yeah, that PG rating that this has it's definitely there's definitely a reason why that PG rating is there. It's just like, don't expect to go in there looking for a cheerful, happy movie. No, be prepared for something that's a little bit more intense than you think it is, because it definitely is a more intense movie. I mean, there's times in this movie that will have you jumping out of your seats, but it will creep you the fuck out. I mean, one scene in particular that still kind of haunts me a little bit to this very day is like when the Ghost of Christmas Future comes, and he's a shadow throughout much of it, and sitting in a movie theater watching it in 3D, he's riding, as you see the ghost riding around in like a shadow. You see it's basically a shadow of a horse carriage, and it looks like a normal shadow, but then the horse, like, it's looking this way at first, but then it slowly comes right at you. Like, it's a 3D movie, so it's literally looking at you. I was pushed back in my seat the first time I saw it. It's just like, holy shit. Like stuff like that. Of course, the scene where the Ghost of Christmas Present dies is pretty traumatic, too. I mean, this thing is not playing it straight by any means necessary. And that's what I kind of love about this movie, is that it doesn't go for the sweet, simple storyline here. It goes for a little bit more of a closer feel to the adaptation to the original book overall. And for that, I got to give it a lot of points for that. I really love this one. This is probably one of my favorite versions of A Christmas Carol. I mean, you got Robert Zemeckis, one of my all-time favorite directors, doing this. Doing a very good job overall. I think Jim Carrey does a very good job as Scrooge and the Three Ghosts. And the rest of the cast overall is really good. You've got Gary Oldman playing Bob Cratchit here. He's always going to give you somewhat of a good performance. And he's really good in this. I mean, regardless if he's playing it straight or over the top. Because there's times in this movie where he plays different characters. He plays Cratchit, and he also plays Jacob Marley. Cratchit's good. Marley is where he really goes over the top with it. And it's supposed to be scary, but it really is not. It really comes off as like, what are you doing? Like the whole thing with him with his elongated jaw, and he's just like, mankind was my business. Like, that type of stuff gets on your nerves pretty quickly. And it's just like, I mean, you didn't need to do that. Bob Hoskins is very good in here, playing Fezziwig. Colin Firth, Robert Penn, they're pretty good in here too. But really, it's Jim Carrey leading the charge here, and he does a really good job of handling that. I thought the motion capture overall was really good. I think it's definitely a lot better than it was in Beowulf. And, this was probably the last good time that the motion capture really comes into play here. Because following that, we have Mars Needs Moms, which was the film that literally killed this company of Image Movies Digital before it really got going. I mean, Christmas Carol was really their one shot to show everybody that, hey, this is what the future of animation is going to look like. And then you follow up with Mars Needs Moms, and it's just like, okay, never mind. Yeah, we're shutting you down. The biggest argument about motion capture animation is that the whole purpose is to give an animated character a performance of a real-life actor. Well, if that's the case, then why not just do it with real-life actors? I mean, you could still have Carrey as Scrooge and the Three Ghosts and still make a live-action movie. I mean, Night at the Museum of 3 came out about 5 years after that, and they had a scene where Ben Stiller's not only playing Larry Daly, but he's playing one of the cavemen who thinks he's his father. And, that's something that you could do in a movie like that. But it's something you can do in a movie like this as well. But I mean, I was glad to see that Robert Zemeckis did get back to live-action form after that with A Flight and The Walk, which I thought were really good movies overall. And again, the story overall is really well done. You could see that they're trying to follow Dickens' original concept for the story, which is supposed to be his ghost story, something you rarely see in the adaptations. I mean, there are creepy elements, and they really are. The departure of Ghost of the Christmas Present, the stuff with the Ghost of Christmas Future. I mean, this is definitely stuff you wouldn't expect to see in a Disney version of this. Maybe in the more adult versions, but not for Disney. And I like the fact that Disney went dark when they needed to. But at the same time, it does go a little bit too far, but never to the point where I would say that it ruins the film overall. But the film overall is really good. And seeing it in 3D was really great to see. Like, there's a great part where the Ghost of Christmas Present takes Scrooge out of his home, and he's lifting the floor that they're in. And it literally feels like you're on somewhat of a ride, because you go from the house to an overview shot of the city of London, and it's really well done. Like, in 3D, you feel like you're there. You feel like you're right there as it happens. And that, you got to give the movie its proper credit overall for that. But not only that, though, it does have some good emotional moments. I think the one that everyone really talks about with this movie is the part where You know, during the Ghost of Christmas Future segment, you know, of course, Tiny Tim has to die in that part, and there's a part where Bob Cratchit is trying to keep it together in front of his family, which he does. But then, as soon as he gets upstairs, not knowing that Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Present are right there, and Scrooge is just like literally standing right in front of Bob Cratchit, and you just look at Cratchit, he's completely like he's been crying, and it makes sense because that's his son. His son is dead, and he's just looking straight at Scrooge, and Scrooge can't go anywhere else. He has to look at what his actions have done to this guy and his kid, and it's just like stuff like that really makes this one hold up more, because that's just such a great scene. Doesn't have to use any dialogue. It's just one single scene, 2 shots. One of Cratchit looking straight at Scrooge, the other Scrooge looking straight at Cratchit. Scrooge has nowhere to go. He just has to look at this. I mean, that right there, stuff like that makes this movie worth it. It's not the best adaptation of the story. I think Scrooge and Mickey's Christmas Carol are better retellings of the story, but this is still a really good movie. It is one of the stronger adaptations of my favorite story of all time. The performances are great. The visuals are nicely done, the animation is great, and the story recaptures Dickens' original version of the story to a T. It's a really good adaptation of the tale, and I think it deserves a lot more attention. It's one I watch every Christmas. It's a great, great adaptation. It's probably my favorite overall Christmas movie of this decade. Now, I know Elf and the Polar Express are much more beloved, as well as The Grinch, but this is the one I always go back to. Like, every holiday season, I have to watch this at least once. So yeah, I really like this one a lot. Disney's A Christmas Carol. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is The Men Who Stare at Goats.
My name is Bob Wilton. I'm a journalist. I've been investigating a story about a classified government program. So what you're saying is that you were a psychic spy?
A Jedi warrior.
I'd heard that the U.S. government was training psychic soldiers, and that Lynn Cassidy was the best of the best.
I've been reactivated. I'm on a mission.
I could come. Lynn's story was unbelievable, crazy, and completely true.
We have to dream a new America that no longer has an exploitative view of everyone. You will be a psychic weapon. Feel it, yeah! You must create warrior monks who can pass through walls and see into the future.
Congratulations, Scotty. Sorry it doesn't work out between you two.
What are you doing?
Cloud bursting. Keeps me in shape. And it's gone.
Geez, you had like the whole desert to drive in, Lynn.
Please, please. Thank you for picking us up.
How are we going to stop them? They've got guns. We're Jedi. We don't fight with guns. We fight with our minds.
What happened? I think I just ran him over. Oh, crap. Lieutenant Colonel Django used funds from the project's black budget to procure prostitutes.
That's a lie.
And to get drugs for himself and his men.
Well, the hooker thing is definitely a lie.
My God, what a bizarre movie this is, but that's part of the charm and the fun of the movie, man. This is one that does not get enough attention. It kind of came and went when it came out in theaters, but I really dug the hell out of this movie from the beginning, and watching it again, I still kind of enjoyed the hell out of it. You have a story that follows a reporter played by Ewan McGregor who stumbles onto a special force operator played by George Clooney after flying to Kuwait out of anger due to a recent divorce with his wife, who then proceeds to marry Bob's editor. Lynn reveals that he was part of an American Army unit training psychic spies, or Jedi Knights, if you will, trained to develop a range of parapsychological skills, including invisibility, remote viewing, cloud bursting, walking through walls, and intuition. The leader of the unit is Bill Janko, played by Jeff Bridges, who travels across America in the 1970s for 6 years, exploring a range of New Age movements, including the Human Potential Movement, and used those experiences to find the 1st Earth Battalion. In the 1980s, two of Django's best recruits were Len Cassidy and Larry Hooper, played by Kevin Spacey, developing a lifelong rivalry because of their opposing views of how to implement the 1st Earth philosophy. Len wanted to emphasize the positive side of the teachings, whereas Larry was more interested in the dark side of the philosophy by stopping goats' hearts telepathically. And as you see in the trailer there, they do literally kill goats in this. I mean, that title is not just a quirky title. That's something that actually happens in the movie. And I was watching it. I was watching this trailer originally thinking it was going to go two ways. It could be silly. It's hilarious, or the stuff I see is not meant to be silly and taken seriously, and it could turn into something like Man of the Year, where it's promoted as a comedy, and in the middle, it turns into this bizarre political drama, and it does not do that. This one, it is a lot more of the first half of that. It is a very silly movie, and, you know, it's a little bit technically up my second thought, too. It doesn't go quite as dark or dramatic as the Man of the Year does, but there are times when it does get serious in several parts, but it doesn't hurt the overall film. This is a really good movie, and I think it benefits from the four leads. McGregor, Clooney, Bridges, Spacey, they're all working off each other so well. They're terrific actors. There's a lot of funny moments in this movie. I mean, it's a really, really entertaining movie, and one that, like I said, kind of came and went when it came out. It was a minor hit when it came out, but a year after it came out, it was largely forgotten for reasons that are beyond me. This is directed by Grant Heslov, who is a longtime producing partner of George Clooney. It was his first movie he ever directed, and it's not a bad directorial effort, but more importantly, this is written by Peter Strahan, who just won the Oscar this past March for writing the script for Conclave. I mean, this is a really good team behind this movie, and I think the reason why this film kind of got overlooked was, well, let's be honest, the title. I mean, you look at a title like The Men Who Stare at Goats, any normal person is going to look at that and go like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go ahead and check this one out. But you really got to go into it knowing what you're going to go into, and it really is a silly, fun movie that does go dark with a little bit, but never to the point where it completely ruins the ebb and flow of the film. It's still a really good movie, and one that deserves a lot more attention. It's a really good film. I highly recommend checking it out. It's probably one of Overture Films' best movies in general, when I really think about it. But, yeah, that's The Men Who Stare at Goats. So let's go ahead and get to some pretty crappy movies now. Let's go ahead and move on to easily the worst movie of this week, Milla Jovovich. And, hey, Paranormal Activity had just come out a couple weeks ago, but you think Universal would have seen the success of that and say, maybe we ought to reconsider putting this out around this time. But no, someone said no. I mean, that Paranormal Activity, that's a fad. It's going to come and go. Wait until they see our shit with The Fourth Kind.
Can you state your name for the camera?
Dr. Abigail Tyler.
Okay, where would you like to begin?
I am actress Milla Jovovich, and I will be portraying Dr. Abigail Tyler. This film is a dramatization of events that occurred October 2000. Every scene in this movie is supported by archived footage. Some of what you're about to see is extremely disturbing.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely disturbing, but it certainly isn't going to be scary. I mean, first problem with this movie right here, if you have to have the actress who's playing the character in this come out and tell you what you're about to see is a dramatization of what's going on here, and, everything in here is going to be really disturbing, and, the whole thing is supposed to be the movie is actually real, but this is just reenactment, so it's just like, you've already lost the audience here, and, yeah. What do you expect anything more from the same director that just gave us Star Trek Section 31 this year? A contender for one of the worst movies of the year. Would you really be that surprised at all? But, yeah, this is The Fourth Kind. It's a pseudo-documentary purporting to be a dramatic reenactment of true events that occurred in Nome, Alaska, in which a psychologist uses hypnosis to uncover memories of alien abduction from her patients and find evidence suggesting that she may have been abducted as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of the film, Milla Jovovich informs the audience that the entire movie is actually real, that she will be playing a character based on a real person named Abigail Tyler, and that the film will feature archival footage of the real Tyler. The Abigail Tyler seen in the archival footage is played by Charlotte Milchard, and at various points throughout the film, the archival footage scenes and accompanying dramatic reenactments are presented side by side. That's really fucking stupid. I mean, the whole point of this movie is supposed to be reenactments. This is stuff that you report on the DVD for the behind-the-scenes footage, not in an actual movie like this. And again, let's just get the elephant out. Let's just get to the elephant in the room. It's nothing but a rip-off of Paranormal Activity, which is a far superior movie, and it didn't insult the intelligence of its audience with that movie by having the actors coming out and saying, what you're about to see is something that we are reenacting, but we are telling you that this actually happened. I mean, it's just like, it's such a terrible, terrible way to promote this movie, that even if the studio took Paranormal Activity seriously and said, fuck it, we're going to release it anyway, this thing still was a terrible movie. This whole thing got so bad, people actually sued this movie. I mean, this thing got controversy because they had put out these fake news articles that was related to real news outlets out in Alaska, and the Alaskan Press Club sued Universal, and they got a $20,000 settlement because of it. Like, they failed at every single level with this movie. The movie is not engaging, and not only that, you know, we have to. The scares in here are not interesting. The casting is, the casting overall here isn't bad, but there's just nothing in here that you could take seriously. And I'm sorry, I know keep saying this, but I don't care. I don't like her as an actress. Milla Jovovich was the worst person to get for this movie. I mean, I'm sorry. She's probably a nice person. I have no reason to believe she's not a nice person in real life. I mean, she's probably a good person overall, but I'm sorry. You suck as an actress, man. I can't take you seriously, no matter what movie you're in. I just don't like you in any single movie that you're in. And certainly not in a movie like this, where, you know, you're trying to play this character here, and it doesn't help that you have a really bad movie behind you, and you're trying to save face for it. And it's just like, I can't do it, man. Like, I'm sorry. I can't do it. This is a terrible movie. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. It's a lazy ripoff of Paranormal Activity, which, fitting for Universal that they would have two movies within the span of a month, where two other much more successful movies, Paranormal Activity and the Twilight Saga New Moon, came out. We had Cirque du Freak a couple weeks ago, but at least with Cirque du Freak, that was a much better movie than New Moon. But in this case, Paranormal Activity was much better than The Fourth Kind. This was one of the worst movies of 2009. This was that bad of a movie. It's a lousy film. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. It's just nothing, man. It's just not a good movie by any means necessary. One of the worst movies of the year, easily. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is James Marsden, Cameron Diaz, and Frank Langella in Richard Kelly's The Box.
I've done an offer to make. If you push the button, first, you will receive a payment of $1 million. Second, someone in the world will die. We have to save your son or your wife is gonna die. How's she gonna die? You're going to kill her. There are always consequences.
The Box, rated PG-13.
Now, I could tell you what The Box is all about, or I could show you what's in this box right here. Actually, there's nothing inside of there. So, yeah, I'd be wasting your time anyway. But, pointless prop time, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, that's my footrest, by the way. But this is The Box. This is a movie based off of a short story that was adapted into an episode of The Twilight Zone. I thought Stephen King was behind it, but no. It's Richard Matheson who wrote this short story called Button Button. And as I said, it was previously adapted into an episode of The Twilight Zone, and now they've made it into a movie where you have Cameron Diaz and James Marsden as a couple who receive a box from a mysterious man played by Frank Langella, who offers them $1 million if they press the button, sealed with the dome on top of the box, but tells them that once the button has been pushed, someone they do not know will die. So it's kind of like Deal or No Deal, except if you hit the button, you get a deal, but you also kill somebody in the process. But is it really going to kill somebody that they don't know? That's the real trick of this whole thing. And there's a good idea for a movie here, and the movie almost makes it work, but in the end, it really fails to really just gives you what you want to see at the end of it. And I think that's really the biggest problem with the movie in general, is that it has a good idea to it, a good hook to it overall. The story overall really is very impressive, but the way it ends just really kind of ruins it for me. It really is just how the climax comes to an end. It's just like when you see what the big twist is going to be, it's just like, are we really doing this? Is this really what this whole thing was leading up to? Because it really doesn't add up overall. Like, the guy said, Frank Langella says at the beginning, you know, hit this, you'll win $1 million, but you'll also kill somebody that you don't know. So how does this even work overall if it's going to kill somebody that they know? It's just like, but then again, that's the trick of it all. Like, would you trust somebody that looks like Frank Langella that tells you this type of stuff? And, yeah, it's tempting to win $1 million and kill somebody that you don't know, but you never, but it's the Rumpelstiltskin thing. Like, how do you know he's not going to trick you once you say yes? I mean, Rumpelstiltskin was smart at tricking people overall, is in the story overall. Well, at least it was in the next Shrek movie that comes out that summer, but coincidentally, Cameron Diaz is in that one. But again, that's for the summertime. But there's a good idea here too. I mean, just the execution and the way it ends overall kind of ruins it. I mean, give Richard Kelly some credit for doing something a little bit more mainstream. It's definitely a movie that I feel like is a lot better than something like Southland Tales. Even though I did like Southland Tales, it was definitely a step down from Donnie Darko. But this is a film that's okay, I guess. I mean, it's not a great movie overall. The third act and the twist really kind of ruins it, and it just really was something where it's just kind of like, I really wanted something good from that third act, but it just kind of ruined a really good movie and kind of just takes it down to just like, it's not bad, but it certainly is a lot worse than it could have been. I mean, it really could have been so much more had they stuck the landing at the end, and they just didn't do it, so yeah. Mostly a mixed opinion, but mostly leaning towards negative because of the way it ended, so. So with that said, let's get to let's get to our last film here, the biggest Oscar contender of the bunch that actually did go on to win some Oscars. That is Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire.
The greatest moments in life are the ones that change you forever.
Listen, everybody's good at something.
Nominated for 6 Academy Awards, winner for Best Supporting Actress and Best Adapted Screenplay. Own Precious now.
Good thing that trailer completely takes away the true purpose of that movie, in which this young character is being abused and is going through poverty. She's got a kid. She's a teenager. This is a story based off of, as I said, the novel Pushed by Sapphire, directed by Lee Daniels, and it follows the story of this young woman played by Gabourey Sidibe in her leading debut as a young woman struggling against poverty and abuse. And the cast also includes Paula Patton, Mariah Carey, Sherry Shepherd, Lenny Kravitz, and Monique, who won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for this, who really is a very good actress in this movie. And she shows why she won the Oscar for this, because she was really good in the film. The film overall really is well done. It's a movie that isn't afraid to go dark when it needs to. It's a story that you do get invested in. The casting overall is really good. And this is a Tyler Perry co-produced film, too. I mean, it's a film where his name is at the forefront of it. But it's a really good movie. It's a really engaging film that is really much a film that is very intense. It doesn't play it safe when it needs to, but it really shows the range of everybody in here, and it's not afraid to go dark when it needs to. I mean, Lee Daniels really shows his capabilities as a director with this film, and I think he does a fantastic job with it. It really is a movie that is very hard to sit through, but it gives you what you want to see in a movie like this. This isn't an Oscar bait movie that's being very manipulative on purpose. No, they're giving you a very manipulative just for the sake of being manipulative. No, they're trying to tell a story here, and they're not afraid to go dark when they have to. And it works. It works very much in the film's favor. And it's one you should definitely check out. I mean, it's a really good movie, a really solid cast overall. Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire. One more side note here, I found this kind of hilarious. The film's title was changed from Push to Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire, because it was trying to avoid confusion with the 2009 film Push, the one we saw earlier in the year with Chris Evans in it. So yeah, they had to change the title because they were scared of that Chris Evans movie that really was not that good of a film to begin with. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to wrap this episode up here. So thank you.
We'll all stay together.
This mass suicide was discovered here in the ancient Mayan city of Tikal. The victims adhere to the Mayan calendar, which predicts that the end of time will coincide with a planetary alignment on the 21st of December of 2012.
Hello?
Kate, I've rented a plane. Pack up the kids.
The governor just said we're fine now.
When they tell you not to panic, that's when you run!
You call me back when you calm down.
let that god-awful Arnold Schwarzenegger impression give you an indication of one of the many, many things wrong with this movie. Because, let me tell you something. This is not the same Roland Emmerich that made a stupid but fun film in The Day After Tomorrow. No. This is him going back to Independence Day pretentiousness. And, Independence Day was subtle compared to the bullshit that's in this movie. Because, yeah, this is a bad movie. This is a film that is just, wow, it's rough. Based off of the phenomenon that was happening around this time, 2012, everyone thought that December 21st, 2012 was going to be the end of the world, because that's what the Mayans predicted. 1,000 years, December 21st, 2012, the world was going to come to an end. And sure enough, when it happened, the world did not come to an end. Otherwise, we would not all be here right now, and I would not be talking to you right now. I'd be a skeleton lying in the ground wondering, what the hell? Why did Roland Emmerich get that right? And the movie can't even get that right. I'm going to get to the plot here, but based on that phenomenon, its plot follows numerous characters, including novelist Jackson Curtis, played by John Cusack, and geologist Adrian Helmsley, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, as they struggle to survive in I'm going to get this word wrong. Eschatological. Is this? Sorry. A catastrophic sequence of events. I mean, I want to get through this quickly, but a catastrophic series of events, including earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, mega tsunamis, a global flood. Pretty much every disaster in the world is in this movie. I mean, that's literally what the movie is. And, like I said, it doesn't even do a good job at that, because, first of all, the phenomenon said it was going to be December 21st, 2012, and it's clearly the summertime when this is happening in 2012. But believe me, that's the smallest of the problems with this movie. This movie doesn't work because it's a movie that is trying to be so serious, and yet it's trying to be so goddamn funny. Like the bad Arnold Schwarzenegger governor impression. That's the second time in this movie where they do the thing where it's just like everything's perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden a disaster happens, because it happens when Amanda Pete's with her new husband, and they're in the grocery store, and the guy's just like, I feel like we're really coming apart at the seams here, and then the grocery store just splits in two like an earthquake, and it's just like, why is this funny? Like, who thinks that this is hilarious? Like, what the hell are you doing here? And it'd be fine if the special effects were good. I mean, The Day After Tomorrow had those moments in there, but it was working because the special effects were working in that movie. The special effects in here look absolutely awful. I mean, there are so many scenes of CG in this movie that looks absolutely god-awful. And I guess we should be grateful that this was not released in 3D, because I can only imagine the hell that this movie would have looked like in 3D. But on top of that, the symbolism, this super bit of symbolism here. John Cusack plays a guy named Jackson Curtis, who has the initials J and C. Who else has those initials that you know from religious things, the Bible and all that type of stuff? It's you know who it is, and I'm thinking of here. I'm, of course, talking about James Cameron. I mean, of course, he's in the religious books that you think of here. And I can't think of anybody else in particular. Son of God, yeah, there's a guy named Jesus Christ, so I guess you could throw that in there, too. I mean, that's literally what they do in this movie with John Cusack's character. They perceive him as the savior of everybody during this whole thing. Like, he's going to be the one that literally is going to be the one to save us from this disaster. And, again, for a movie that's supposed to be about the end of the world, it has a happy ending to it, which makes no sense whatsoever, because the movie should end with the world coming to an end. But nope, not in this movie. No. The thing just comes to an end. It's like an Ice Age movie, except the Ice Age movies were intended for kids. But this is supposed to be a serious adult movie, and it's just like, you can't take anything seriously in this goddamn movie. I mean, Roland Emmerich, this is him at his going downhill very quickly, because he never recovered from this. This is a movie where he's just going downhill, and he's never coming back, because everything he's made since then has been nothing but just trying to recapture the magic from Independence Day. That movie that was a big hit back 13 years ago, because that's the one thing he's got left to him, and he's going to try so hard to go back to that magic, even making a sequel that is unnecessary and does not need to exist. There are times in this movie where he's trying so hard to grasp on that Independence Day magic. Remember the dog in Independence Day, Boomer? Boomer will live. Remember that? Yeah. Here's another scene. Here's another dog in this movie. This time, it's from a Paris Hilton knockoff. It's a Chihuahua, and You know, there's a literal part when they're built on this ark where where this dog takes up the time in this movie, and it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, honestly, what the hell are we doing here with this film? I mean, I'm just baffled that this film not only became the hit that it was, but the fact that people were suckered into this once again. It's just like, this is a terrible movie. I mean, when I saw it back in the day, I saw it in the theater, and I just thought it was alright. I mean, it was certainly a lot better than I thought it was going to be back then, because it looks nice in theaters. But watching it again at home, on a Blu-ray or on an HD television, that film does not look any better than it did back then. I mean, this is a movie that is just so... I hate this movie. I really do hate this movie. I gave it the benefit of the doubt when I saw it first 16 years ago, and watching it now, not too long ago, this shit has not held up well at all. It is pretentious. It doesn't know if it wants to be funny or serious. It's Roland Emmerich struggling so hard to keep that money that he was making off Independence Day. He wants that money from you again with these disaster movies. And I think people weren't smart enough to stay away from this one, but after that, every disaster movie he made was a flop. Independence Day 2, Moonfall. I mean, I think people have finally gotten the hint, finally given Roland Emmerich the hint that we don't want to see you making any more of these movies anymore. And I mean, this is a mess. This is a mess of a movie. 2012, I mean, this is a type of movie that makes you want the real 2020 end of the world to happen, so we never have to see another goddamn Roland Emmerich movie ever again. I mean, this is terrible. This is a terrible, terrible film. Avoid it like the plague. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Pirate Radio, a.k.a. The Boat That Rocked.
When the British government banned rock and roll from the radio,
we're going to shut them down.
One American DJ and a band of misfits took their message to the streets.
Rock and roll!
From the creator of Love Actually and Notting Hill.
The first moment I saw you, I fell in love with you.
Rolling Stone raves. It's a rip-roaring comedy.
I intend to broadcast from this ship until the day I die. And then for a couple days after that.
Pirate Radio. Rated R. In theaters November 13th.
Depending on where you're watching this from, it was called Pirate Radio here in the States, but in the UK, it was called The Boat That Rocked. It's an ensemble film starring Philip Seymour Hoffman, Bill Nighy, Reese Ethans, Nick Frost, and Kenneth Branagh, and it's set in 1966, involving the story of this fictional pirate radio station called Radio Rock, and its crew of eclectic disc jockeys. And their goal is to broadcast radio, rock and pop music to the UK from a ship anchored in the North Sea while the British government tries to shut them down. And notably, this is the first film Richard Curtis has done as a director since Love Actually. And Love Actually is a fantastic film. This one, not so much. It's not a bad movie per se, but it has the same kind of problems that a movie like Taking Woodstock had the year before. Earlier in the summer, I mean, not the year before, but Taking Woodstock was a movie released by Universal and was already a film directed by Ang Lee. It was a film directed by Ang Lee. And, of course, in that movie, the same problems are in this movie, too. It's very muddled. There isn't really much of a story in here where there should be a story. And, yeah, the actors in this movie are fine here, but what's the point? Why are we here? Like, what is the point of the storyline here? I mean, the only thing else I could really say about the movie is that you get to listen to some good songs from the 1960s. I mean, you have a great soundtrack here. Classic songs from that era, you know, Judy in the Sky, you know, what else? Trying to think of what else. I know that was one of the songs that was in here. You know, Dancing in the Street, Wouldn't It Be Nice, you know, just these great, great songs from songs that I remember listening to on 3WS. But other than that, though, 3WS, the local Pittsburgh classic radio affiliate here. I mean, this is a radio station that's been around ever since I was little. But nowadays, it's mostly just songs from the 60s to, you know, 2000s, because, you know, 20 years is apparently the cutoff date for classics nowadays. But yeah, other than that, though, this is kind of a lame movie. I mean, there's not a lot of good jokes in here. And for Richard Curtis to follow this up after Love Actually, it's a real letdown of a movie. I mean, there's definitely something there where it's just like, there's just something that you really thought could have been there. And apparently this version, this is a cut-down version than the one that's seen in theaters in the UK, because according to Wikipedia here, it was actually cut down 20 minutes and retitled Pirate Radio here in the States, while it's actually longer in the UK, and I don't think it did well in the UK either, but I don't know. I mean, the UK version probably is better, but I've never heard anybody say it's one you should check out. So I'm just going to take the version that we got here as a sign that maybe I shouldn't go see the original version. So overall, not really something to see overall. It's a major letdown compared to what Richard Curtis did with Love Actually. So with that said, let us go ahead and move on to a much better movie, and this is easily the best movie of the entire week. One of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's Wes Anderson's first ever stop-motion animated feature, The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
And so it begins. Welcome to the fantastic world of Mr. Fox. Woo! Should we dance? Woo! His life is fantastic. Pure wild animal craziness. His wife is fantastic.
If what I think is happening, it better not be.
His neighbors, not so fantastic.
This is Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, three of the meanest, nastiest, ugliest farmers in his valley. What was that? They're digging us out.
But they're about to discover...
Oh, Foxy. Is help on the way?
He's one fox. I've got an idea. You can't out-fox.
Mole, what do you got? I can see in the dark. We can use that. Rabbit, I'm fast. Badger, demolitions expert. What?
Since when? Here, put these bandit hats on.
I don't have a bandit hat, but I modified this tube sock. They look good. Yeah.
You're incredible.
I can fit through there. You wanna know why? Why? Because I'm little.
It's all about fantastic.
You really are fantastic.
I try.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
It's just lightning bolt.
This fence might be electric.
Well, I just hope it doesn't mean thunder, because I have a phobia of that.
Just Wes Anderson entering the world of stop-motion animation and doing a pretty damn good job at it, man. I love the hell out of this movie. I mean, there's not much more I could say about this film that hasn't already been said already. But this is based off of the book by Roald Dahl, and it follows a story where you have these animals led by Mr. Fox, played by George Clooney. And, you know, he spent a life of crime, and when he finds out that his wife, played by Meryl Streep, is pregnant, he decides to essentially leave his days of being a thief and just basically living the life as the big kahuna of this group, if you will. That includes characters voiced by Jason Schwartzman, his son. Bill Murray plays a badger. Owen Wilson plays like a polar bear. Willem Dafoe has a role in here too, and he's being hunted down by three farmers, Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, who are names that you're going to remember through this movie because they have a great song in here, but they also have some of the more memorably funny moments in this movie. I mean, there's one scene in particular where one of the farmers is upset that the fox outfoxed him, and he's in his room, and he just goes ahead and starts just destroying the room around him. And just the animation in this movie, for a guy who's never done animation before, talk about a great debut for him. Of course, he would follow this up 9 years later with another movie of his, Isle of Dogs, which is another fantastic film. But this, I really love the hell out of this movie, man. There's not really much more I can say about this film that hasn't already been said already, because it is such a good film. The voice acting is top-notch. The animation is so well done. The stop-motion work in here is so good. You could see the hairs on these creatures when they're moving and talking, and that's something where it's just like, I mean, that's actual effort being put into this. To actually, the details are so good in this movie. The comedy is top-notch. I mean, this really is quite literally a fantastic film that just, it needs to be seen. It needs to be seen. You've got to check this one out. Even if you're not the biggest Wes Anderson fan, if you're an animation lover, you got to go and check this movie out because, yeah, this is a great movie, man. Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's a fantastic film. I can't really add anything new to this that hasn't already been said already. It's one you should definitely check out. It's one of the year's best movies, easily. Fantastic Mr. Fox. So with all that said, on to, let's see, our next movie here. I almost lost it for a second, but the second Woody Harrelson movie of the weekend. We had 2012 earlier, but here he is in a much better film that really shows a lot of his talents, and that is The Messenger.
I was blind, but now I see.
I said there'd be days like these.
I was blind, but now I see.
It's hard to believe 2009 was actually Woody Harrelson's equivalent to Robert Downey Jr.'s year the year before, where nobody had really heard from him. He had been kind of... There was a point where I think that he was in a lot of legal troubles, but then he had this year where he just had these big roles, one after another. And while they weren't as successful as Robert Downey Jr. was, I mean, he did have 2012, but he was great in Zombieland. But here, in The Messenger, he proves... The guy's still got a lot of acting chops to him, and this is a film where you follow him and Ben Foster, who are a pair of United States Army casualty notification officers, and the effects of their difficult work on their personal lives and each other. In addition to the two of them, you got Samantha Morton, Steve Buscemi, and Jenna Malone among the cast in here. This director, Orion Movement, has not really done a whole lot of noteworthy things since then, and, you know, this is his first movie as a director, but it came out of the gate strong, but unfortunately, his career kind of took a nosedive here, and this really is one of the best war films, one of the best post-war films that you could honestly have. I mean, this is a movie where, this is coming around a time when we had so many anti-war films, like, you know, Rendition, you know, The Kingdom was another one, Lions for Lambs. A lot of them were not very good. Stop Loss. This is one of the few big breakout movies that really was a lot better than a lot of people were expecting it to be, and sadly, it didn't leave much of a lasting impact overall. It kind of came and went once the Oscars were done. Nobody really remembered the film. But it's something you want to check out because it handles a very touchy subject, and it's done very well by this director here. And the actors in here are top-notch. Ben Foster's great and all, but Woody Harrelson is the big breakout in this movie because you really you got to remember, this guy has a lot of good acting chops too. I mean, this isn't just Woody from Cheers. I mean, the guy has range. I mean, he's proven it time and time again. Natural Born Killers, The People vs. Larry Flint. I mean, this is a really good guy who can handle both comedic roles and dramatic roles so well, and he just knocks it out of the park in this movie. He's really fantastic in this film. And like I said, it's a movie that handles a very touchy subject. You know, the idea of going to these people's houses and telling them that your son or your daughter or someone that you know has died in combat. I mean, this is a very tough thing you got to deal with here. But unlike a lot of the other anti-war films or films about the Afghan war, like, this isn't a movie where it's not a film where, you know, it's just being spelled out for you, like, you know, oh, war is evil, and like this is like you shouldn't do this type of stuff. It's just like no, it doesn't do that. It tells a very heartfelt story without having to go to those extreme levels to where it could have easily ruined the film. And it doesn't do that. It's a really good film. It's a film that keeps you invested in these characters. And it's just, again, the acting is just so good in here. I can't believe this guy has not done anything as a director since then that's been noteworthy. Orion Movement. I mean, he's done stuff like Rampart, which I've never heard anybody talk about. Time Out of Mind. The Dinner. Like, these films sound like films that... I mean, he has written some decent stuff here. He actually did write one of my favorite movies of the last, underrated films of the last couple decades, Love and Mercy, which is the Brian Wilson biopic with John Cusack in it. And that's a terrific film. And he has written a lot of good stuff. I'm Not There. He wrote that a couple years ago. That was really good. He did Married Life, The Quiet Ones. So he has done some stuff as a writer. As a director, not so much, but as a writer, he has done a lot of good stuff. So maybe I'm giving him a little too low of a credit. I mean, he still is making good stuff overall, but not really films that are memorable as a director. But then again, I haven't really seen a lot of his other movies, so who knows? Maybe they're actually underrated gems. But The Messenger certainly is one you want to check out. It's a film that I'm glad I got to see it when I did, because it's a film that doesn't get much attention nowadays, but it's a film you want to check out. If you want to see a really good performance by Woody Harrelson to show that the guy still has the acting chops, this is the film to see. The Messenger, great film. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at our last film that we have here, and that is Women in Trouble.
That's as straight as it gets.
I'm pregnant.
Congratulations.
How can I be pregnant?
Are you virgin?
No.
And you can be pregnant.
You're kidding.
Can anyone hear me?
Hey, what's up?
Did you make the reservations, or was I supposed to?
Oh, I'll take care of it.
You're on the other side of this door, aren't you, Eddie? my God, Elle. When is she gonna be all right? She's fine. This happens to her all the time. Really?
I'd very much like to carry on flirting with you after we land.
Is that right?
Have you ever made a really bad mistake? One thing you can never forgive yourself for?
Can pick on your mom?
I'm serious.
I was joking.
The way he looked at me, I could feel him mentally undressing me with his eyes.
Holly, we were working in the strip club.
You are alive, and the time is now. Today is the day you will not forget.
Shit. I'm sorry, I fell asleep there for a second. What the hell is going on in this movie? I mean, no joke, that was kind of literally my first thought watching this movie. I see all these great actresses, you know, Carla Gugino, Adrienne Palicki, Connie Britton, Marley Shelton, Garcelle Bovis Nyland, Josh Brolin here, Emmanuel Shariki. You have a lot of good people in this movie. It's a film that literally is selling you on the sex appeal. I mean, look at the poster, for God's sakes. And yet, this is one of the most boring fucking movies I have ever seen in my entire life. Good Lord, this was rough to sit through. I mean, this is a film that just... Wow, man. But anyway, let me put this away. A little basketball pillow I just got today. I might as well use it for a prop here. But anyway, back to this movie. It focuses on 6 women in Los Angeles as their lives become intertwined in the course of 24 hours. You have Carla Gugino as a porn star, Electra Lux, who gets pregnant, and she gets stuck in an elevator from this woman who is played by Connie Britton, who is sister to Addie. Addie played by Caitlin Keats, and Addie has recently started to take her daughter to... who is actually the biological daughter of Doris, but due to drug abuse, and Doris is at the time abusive boyfriend, she was raised by Addie. You have a character named Charlotte, played by... I can't even remember the names here. Isabella Gutierrez, who is seen by her therapist Maxine. Maxine, played by Sarah Clark, while secretly using the visits to sleep with Maxine's husband. Maxine's husband's played by Simon Baker. Upon learning about the affair during a therapy session with Charlotte, Maxine rushes out and gets into a car. While backing up, she hits porn star Holly Rocket. Holly Rocket is played by Adrienne Palicki, who's a colleague of Electra Lux, who's been fleeting with her friend Bambi, played by Emmanuel Shariki, from a job that has gone wrong. Meanwhile, a flight attendant named Cora, played by Marley Shelton, finds herself the object of rock star Nick Chappell, played by Josh Brolin, with a terrible British accent, and his affections on a flight to his band's upcoming show. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt is also in here, too. This movie makes no fucking sense whatsoever. I mean, this is a film that is just so... How do you take something like this and make it the most boring movie I have ever seen in my life? Not a single one of these people's lives in this film is interesting whatsoever. How do you make a 92-minute movie seem like the most boring movie ever made? This thing is unbelievable on how bad it is. Like, this is a movie that is just so... It literally has nothing to say to anything. It's a movie that thinks it's trying to be so smart and so sophisticated and appeal to women out there, while also appealing to the men by having these women in sexy lingerie. I mean, the movie literally, one of the main focal points is having Carla Gugino as a porn star wearing sexy lingerie. I mean, it's almost like the director was banging her or something. Actually, it is, because the director, Sebastian Gutierrez, who is her partner, and... yeah, it literally says partner on here. They've been together for 30 years now, so I guess they're not married or anything like that. So they've been around for that long. But yeah, that's... I mean, I know I'm being harsh on this film, but the filmmaker did it. The film did it to itself, because nothing is happening in this movie that is even the most remotely interesting. I want to get some involvement in this. This has a lot of actresses and people in here that I really like. I like Carla Gugino. I like Adrienne Palicki from Friday Night Lights. Connie Britton, Marley Shelton, Garcelle Bovis Nyland, I think I pronounced that right. Josh Brolin, Emmanuel Shariki, Cameron Richardson, Sarah Clark, Simon Baker, Xander Berkeley, Elizabeth Berkley, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. All these people are talented people, but they're just given nothing to do in this movie. This is like if you took one of those Gary Marshall ensemble comedies, and instead of just doing the comedies that they are, just silly over-the-top comedies in general, they took the silly stuff out of there and just put nothing in there. Everyone talks like they're soft talking, like it's ASMR, and it doesn't help that their stories are not interesting in the slightest. There's not one time in this movie I got invested whatsoever, and to have all these people in here and to not have one person in here that I gave a shit about, that's unbelievable. That is unbelievable how this film manages to go down that route. It's a terrible movie. It's a terrible film, and I hate to say this because I like the people involved in here, but at the same time, there's just nothing there. It's a movie that tries to appeal to everybody. It's trying to appeal to the men with the sex appeal, trying to appeal to the women because you got all these people here, and the movie is literally called Women in Trouble, and there's just nothing there. It's a con movie for all genres out there, like for all genders out there, for the men, for the women, for the he, him, she, her, like whatever pronouns you want to use. I mean, I don't want to go down that route, but you get the idea here. This is a con movie for everybody, and for everybody, no matter who you are. Like, this thing tries to get something out of you, and then when they sucker you in, they waste an hour and a half of your life that you're never getting back. Because this is a boring ass movie, man. This is one of the most boring films I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, this is a bad movie. This is a really, really bad movie. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was excited to watch this when I saw it in Walmart. It was just like, I've been hearing about this. I might want to check it out. And when I got it, I couldn't even finish it the first time around. Like, I got halfway through and it's just like, nothing is happening here, so why the hell am I even here? So, Women in Trouble. This movie is in trouble. This movie needs a lot more help than any of these women do. Plain and simple.
The Volturi are the closest thing my world has to royalty. They enforce the law.
Vampires have laws?
You're a human who knows entirely too much about us. They could kill us all.
You just don't belong in my world, Bella.
I belong in here.
This is the last time you'll ever see me. Please just promise me you won't do anything reckless.
The sad part is, as bad as that is still more convincing than the Wolfman from Jason Blum's Wolfman reboot from earlier in the year. I mean, that's how you know that movie was absolutely awful. But as bad as that is, this one is just as bad because, the first Twilight movie, I don't like it, but I get it. I get what it's supposed to do, who it's appealing to. Not to me, but to the fans of the book, the teenage girls. Let them have their fun with the first movie overall. I mean, that would have been okay with this film too, but no, they decided to take it to a whole nother level of awfulness. And this is where the true, what the hell are you trying to prove to anybody here of this Twilight series and of the Twilight series is trying to tell you. But I don't know if that even meant anything, but you get what I'm trying to say here. But anyway, let's get to the movie here. After Bella recovers from the vampire attack that almost claimed her life, she looks to celebrate her birthday with Edward and his family. However, a minor accident during the festivities results in Bella's blood being shed, a sight that proves too intense for the Cullens because, I mean, they're vampires, and blood is the only thing that's keeping them alive, so that's got to be the thing that's got to be too intense for them. Heaven forbid if they actually have to have an emotion in these movies, but they decide to leave the town of Forks, Washington for Bella and Edward's sake. Initially heartbroken, Bella finds a form of comfort in reckless living, as well as an even closer friendship with Jacob Black, played by Taylor Lautner. Danger in different forms awaits. What really happens in this movie is that, Edward says, this is the last time you'll see me, even though I'll literally see you in my memories, and I'll tell you not to do things, so you're not really leaving me completely, but we gotta do it because we gotta do it so that people think that this is the last time we're gonna see these people ever again, and we gotta form this so-called relationship with Jacob, who looks completely different than he did in the first movie overall, and apparently has grown a six-pack in the last year since this movie came, since the in-between movies. But as I said before, the first movie overall really isn't that bad. I mean, it was just It's just a generic movie. It knows who it's appealing to. So for that, you got to give them the proper credit for that. But if that movie had been like this, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But no. They decided to pull the rug out of you and let the shit hit the fan repeatedly in this film. This is a disaster of a movie. Kristen Stewart's Bella Swan in this movie is one of the biggest cock-teases, annoyingly written She's one of the biggest cock-teasing, annoyingly written female characters that you will ever see on the big screen. I mean, this is a woman who is so all about her and nobody else except for her needs. Like, she makes Anastasia Steele from the 50 Shades movies look like the same person by comparison. I mean, she isn't cock-teasing Christian Grey as much as she's doing with this mess of a movie here. But then again, it's not her doing it to him. But here, Bella Swan has no comparisons or intriguing things about her whatsoever to have these two guys pine for her, unlike somebody like Anastasia Steele in the 50 Shades of Grey movies. And on top of that, nothing happens in the movie. No real drama in this movie that you give a crap about. You don't care about any of these characters. You don't feel for anything that's going on in here. You really have to wonder what sane person appreciates this garbage overall. And it's 2 hours of your life that you're never getting back. There's no reason why I need to be sitting here watching this just to torture myself. But then again, when I watched this for the first time, it was for a summer where I was watching some really bad movies, so I did it for your enjoyment, and I hope you enjoyed it out there, because I certainly did enjoy it. Yeah, I sacrificed a lot of my time because of this garbage. It wasn't even COVID. It was 2 years before COVID, so I can't even use that excuse. But yeah, Twilight Saga: New Moon. This is definitely one of the worst installment of the series, or at least one of the worst installments of the series, because we haven't got to Breaking Dawn yet, but it fails as a story, it fails as a drama, it fails to develop the characters, it just fails overall. It's a terrible movie, it's not enjoyable by any stretch of the imagination, but the only thing about this series that is going to get better from here is that the next movie actually turns out to be not as bad as you would think it would be. Far from it. It is definitely the best movie of the series coming up after this. And that's not really saying a whole lot, but then again, David Slade is looking at this and saying, I directed 30 Days of Night. I'm not going to do what you guys did with New Moon. I'm actually going to put some balls into this. And he actually made something intriguing and interesting about it, where Twilight even makes fun of itself. But yeah, I'm going to look forward to talking about that one, because yeah, that's definitely the best one of the Twilight series. But we only got about 6 more months before we can get to that one. So, anyway, yeah, that's New Moon. So let's go ahead and get to the most notable new release of the weekend, which was a massive hit at the time, but has definitely had a notable change in history since then, and that is, of course, Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side.
Who is that, SJ?
Big Mike?
Do you have any place to stay tonight?
This Thanksgiving,
Never had one before.
What, a room to yourself?
A bed.
experience the remarkable true story
You protect his blind side. His team is your family.
of a kid who was given a chance
University of Tennessee.
South Carolina.
and inspired the people that believed in him.
We want to know if you would like to be part of this family.
Thought I already was.
Sandra Bullock, The Blind Side, rated PG-13.
So yeah, this film certainly had a very interesting history. Like I said before, at the time, it was a movie that was a massive hit. It was a big box office success, and it did eventually lead to Sandra Bullock winning her first Academy Award for Best Actress. And coincidentally, in the same weekend, she won the Razzie for Worst Actress for, of all things, All About Steve. But overall, Sandra Bullock had a really good 2009 with this and The Proposal and All About Steve. You can kind of push it off to the side overall, but yeah, and certainly it has had a very interesting history in the next 15 years, but as you can tell, the story is about Michael Orr, a football offensive lineman who overcame an impoverished upbringing to play in the National Football League with the help of Leanne, played by Sandra Bullock, and Sean, played by Tim McGraw-Toohey. Of course, Michael Orr had been drafted by the Baltimore Ravens that April, and he eventually went on to win a Super Bowl with the Ravens in 2012. So, yeah. He basically accomplished a goal of his to, be on a football team and eventually go on to win a championship. But the film overall, it's your typical generic sports drama. I mean, there's nothing really about it that makes it stand out or anything that unique. But, the performances are what carry it overall. And John Lee Hancock is a very solid director who's directed a lot of stuff I've really liked. I liked what he did with Saving Mr. Banks. He also did The Rookie with Dennis Quaid. He did The Founder, which is a very underrated Michael Keaton movie with with him as the owner of McDonald's, Ray Kroc. He's made a lot of good movies, and this is a solid director who can usually take a generic storyline like this and give it some life to it. And it also helps that he has good performances across the board here. Bullock is really good, McGraw, Quentin Aaron, but other than that, though, it is pretty much a generic sports drama, and it works because it's elevated by the performances of the leading actors involved in here. I think they really carry the load here. On paper, it's a movie where, yeah, it deserves to be recognized as a good movie. Did it deserve to be the massive hit that it was? I wouldn't go that far. I mean, to be nominated for the Best Picture, I feel like was a little bit much here. This movie didn't really deserve to win a Best Picture nomination, considering that there were so many other better movies that you could have thrown in there in the 10 nominees for Best Picture. And this one really felt like they just put it in there because it was a massive hit, and they got to have some marketable movies there so the ratings can go up pretty much. But since this movie's come out, this has had not the best history you want to have with a movie like this, where it was at the subject of a controversy where Michael Orr alleged that the Tuohys tricked him into signing a conservatorship agreement instead of legally adopting him, which prevented him from receiving royalties on this movie, and the family indirectly made millions. So the family kind of screwed him over big time here. And to basically kind of give you an idea here, here's what it says on Wikipedia in full. It says that in August 2023, Orr filed a lawsuit alleging that Leanne and Sean Tuohy never actually adopted him, but instead created a conservatorship, which gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name. He alleges that the Tuohys used their powers as conservators to strike a deal that paid them and their 2 children millions of dollars in royalties from The Blind Side when Orr received nothing. S.J. Tuohy, the biological son of the Tuohy family, claimed to have received $60,000 to $70,000 over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. The producers denied the Tuohys were paid millions, claiming the family was paid $700,000 after taxes, in addition to the contractual payments. Their company, Alcon Entertainment, made a charitable donation to the Tuohy Family Foundation and offered to donate an equal amount of charity to Orr's choosing, which he declined. The author of the book that this is based off of, Michael Lewis, also denied millions were made, claiming that 20th Century Fox had paid $250,000 for the option to make the film, split it 50-50 with the Tuohy family, and Orr declined his royalty checks, adding, "They showered him with resources and love. That he's suspicious of them is breathtaking. The state of mind one has to be in order to do that. I feel sad for him." And in August of 2024, the New York Times criticized Lewis for attributing Orr's lawsuit to CDE without evidence and promoting a white savior narrative, despite Orr already achieving high school football success before the Tuohys began their conservatorship. So then on September 29th, the judge terminated the conservatorship while the Tuohys had said that they were happy to end it. The Tuohys also later told the court that they would remove all mentions to Orr before being adopted from their websites and public speaking advertisements. So yeah, basically, this whole movie has become absolutely moot at this point. I mean, they kind of screwed him over, and, I mean, yeah, it feels like this movie, when you watch it again recently, it definitely takes a much different turn overall. It does not feel like a movie that really feels like it's promising what they were delivering beforehand, but, yeah, when you look at what's been happening since then, it definitely changes the mood of the movie overall, but to me personally, I still think the movie's okay. It's not one where I would say I'd watch it over and over again, but it is good for what it is. For a one-time watch, I think it's good enough nowadays, but, I mean, back then, it wasn't really anything that's going to be like one of the great sports movies of all time. It is what it is. It's a movie that delivers what you expect it to do, and it works because Sandra Bullock does give it her all, and she deserves to win the Oscar for this, no matter what happens with what was going on behind the scenes of this whole thing, So yeah, that's all I got to say about The Blind Side. So, and trust me, it's one of the better wider releases you're going to see this weekend, because our next movie ain't any better. Let's go ahead and take a look at Sony's follow-up to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, even though this wasn't produced by Sony in general. This is Planet 51.
When astronaut Chuck Baker landed on a distant planet,
The aliens are coming!
he'll have to rely on man's best friend.
Rover, boy, I'm glad to see you.
On November 20th,
I want that alien found.
he has a nose for adventure
There it is,
and a personality that rocks. Planet 51.
Where's your master?
Houston, we have a little problem. Rated PG.
A title so we don't know what the hell it is that the film doesn't even tell you why it's called Planet 51. Maybe I guess their idea maybe is it's supposed to be similar to Area 51, but they never mention it in the movie. They never mention it at any point here, so you're just wanting to guess what the hell Planet 51 has to do with anything here. But in this movie, you got a good premise overall here. You got an astronaut played by Dwayne Johnson who lands on an alien planet as one of the aliens, played by Justin Long, helps him return to his ship while evading the military. So, overall, there's a good concept in here. It's a fun idea. Let's take the idea, let's reverse the E.T. storyline. Let's have it be a human being going to an alien planet and being lost and alone, instead of having it be the alien coming to our planet who's lost and alone. And if the film had just gone down that route and actually made it work, we probably would be talking about something really good here. But no, this thing is a disaster on so many levels. And as I said, Sony may have released this movie, but this is not a Sony Pictures animation movie. This isn't anything compared to what Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Surf's Up or Open Season was doing for that studio. They picked this up from another company, and it shows, because, my God, this thing is unbelievably awful. On paper, it doesn't look that bad, but you really need to delve into the voice work in here that seems really, really off. Like Dwayne Johnson, I don't know what they did to him in this movie, but he does not sound like Dwayne Johnson. He sounds like Dwayne Johnson if you turn the pitch up a little bit. Like if it would be like me and you turn the pitch up and just like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Like I just sucked a balloon air out, just like. That's what it feels like when you watch Dwayne Johnson here. He does not fit this character at all, and the voice does not fit at all. Like, you got people voiced by Jessica Biel, Gary Oldman, Sean William Scott, John Cleese. The writer of this is Joe Stillman, who wrote a lot of King of the Hill. So, there are not hacks behind this movie, but the film it's just not good. The animation is way too bubbly. It's too, it's the kind of annoying animation that you see where, you could definitely tell that this is just the animation that it's got to keep moving. It's got to keep moving so the kids can pay close attention to it, because kids are like kids. This is equivalent to Ritalin to them. But on top of that, the writing in here is awful. The references in here they throw in there are so forced. I mean, there is just references all across the board here that make no sense whatsoever. They do the Macarena in here. They make references to Animaniacs. Like, somebody says, "Can you sign my Humaniacs poster?" And just like, who the fuck is talking about Animaniacs in 2009? I mean, this is a script that feels like it was written for the 90s. And even times when it feels like it's written for the 80s. Like, that's how bad this script really is, because the humor in here really feels like something out of Pluto Nash, where it's like, you guys wrote this 20 years ago, and you're trying to fix it so it doesn't feel like you wrote it 20 years ago. Like, that's how bad this movie is. Like, the writing is awful. You don't like any single character in here. The jokes aren't funny. Like, it's a terrible movie. It's a terrible, terrible movie. Yeah, it's the worst animated movie of the year. Like, no question about it. It's easily the worst animated movie of the year. So, yeah. I say go ahead and avoid Planet 51 like the plague. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get to our next movie here, which is a film that probably could have been terrible, but surprisingly is not. It's the sequel to Bad Lieutenant, which is a radically different movie than the Harvey Keitel movie, this time starring Nicolas Cage and Eva Mendes. This is Port of Call, New Orleans.
You know the people are friendly there.
Do you think these guys care you're a cop?
Shoot him again.
What?
Fool. His soul's still dancing.
Yeah, I have no idea why this is so connected to Bad Lieutenant, because, this has nothing to do with the original film. It's neither a sequel nor a remake, and yet it's a title and story that's loosely resembling the original movie from 1992, but the storyline here is it's very much the same plot as Bad Lieutenant. So after Hurricane Katrina, Nicolas Cage stars as a police sergeant who rescues a prisoner and hurts his back in the process, earning a promotion to lieutenant, plus an addiction to cocaine and painkillers. 6 months later, a family is murdered over drugs, and Terrence, Cage's character, runs the investigation, and his drug-using prostitute girlfriend, played by Eva Mendes, in the oddest Ghost Rider reunion you could possibly ask for, along with his alcoholic father's dog, run-ins with two old women, and a well-connected John, gambling losses, and a nervous young witness, and thefts of police property put Terrence's job and then his life in danger. He starts seeing things. He wants a big score to get out from under mountain deaths, so he joins forces with drug dealers. The murders remain unsolved, and the Bad Lieutenant gets worse. Now, the original Bad Lieutenant is one of my favorite movies from 1992. I love that movie. I loved how dark and grisly it is. I mean, it's Harvey Keitel doing what Harvey Keitel does so well. He fits that character so well. So naturally, going into this, I was very much skeptical about why are they doing this? Like, why are they making this connected to Bad Lieutenant? Because it really does not have any real connections to Bad Lieutenant. My first thought was, this is going to be like Basic Instinct 2, isn't it? But, I like Basic Instinct 2, which is a god-awful sequel that makes no sense to existing. This one doesn't really have a sense to exist either, but at least this one is just as enjoyable as the original Bad Lieutenant. I mean, it's not connected to the first movie, but what it does on its own merits makes it work on its own merits, because Nicolas Cage is just doing classic Nicolas Cage, the type of Nicolas Cage that we love to see, the crazy, psychotic Nicolas Cage. We haven't seen him like this in a long time. After these bad movies he kept doing, like Next, and Ghost Rider, and Bangkok Dangerous, and Knowing, this is the crazy Nicolas Cage that we've been waiting to see for a long, long time, and God help it, God bless him, man. He makes this movie the great film that it is. I mean, this is a really impressive movie that I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed. You know, he and Eva Mendes have a lot of good chemistry in this movie, much more so than they did in Ghost Rider. And that really isn't saying a whole lot, because Ghost Rider is an overall mess, but you have a good cast. It also includes Jennifer Coolidge, Exhibit, the late Val Kilmer, Brad Dourif, and Werner Herzog directed this movie. I forgot that he made the scripted work too, because he did do scripted work, because he did Rescue Dawn, which is not a bad movie. I completely forgot about that one. I think we've covered some of his other movies, too. I know I'm thinking maybe Grizzly Man. The Grizzly Man's the notable documentary that I know from him that he directed, but I completely forgot he did Rescue Dawn. So, yeah, he is not a bad director overall, and he makes this work. It's a really good movie. It's silly, it's over the top, it's dark, it's raunchy, but it works. It works because you get to see what you want to see from a Nicolas Cage movie like this. I mean, you get to see him be the Bad Lieutenant, and it's pretty friggin' awesome. And it just works. It just works on so many levels. It's a movie where, even if you love the first Bad Lieutenant movie like I did, you can still find a lot of merit and value to this film overall. I enjoyed the hell out of this. Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. It's a really, really fun movie. Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here. Pedro Almodovar's latest film, and that's Penelope Cruz in Broken Embraces. So in Broken Embraces, you have a blind Madrilean screenwriter who recalls his tragic love for Lena, played by Penelope Cruz, the deceased lead actress in his last directorial feature, Girls in Suitcases, who was also the mistress of a powerful, obsessive businessman. And, yeah, this is one of those movies where this is the type of movie that I wanted Women in Trouble to be. Because Women in Trouble really felt like a film that wanted to be so hard, like a Pedro Almodovar movie, and just was one of the most boring movies you'll ever see in your entire life. And that was one we took a look at last time around, so we're going to go check that out. Check out the last episode. But this is a movie that I think works a whole lot better, and it works because Penelope Cruz really does hold you in, keeps you invested in the film overall, as does the leading actor in here, Leos Homar, who plays the screenwriter here. And it's a very good erotic movie. It's a good erotic drama. It does what Pedro Almodovar does so well, and I'm actually really kind of surprised this did not become a big awards contender. I thought this one was one where Penelope Cruz got an Oscar nomination for this, but no, I guess not. But I was kind of stunned by that, honestly. But it's a really good movie. If you love Pedro Almodovar's other films, this is definitely right up your alley. It's a film that really plays to the strengths of Almodovar as a whole, and it shows what Penelope Cruz's range as an actress can really be. It's a really good movie. Can't recommend it enough. Not much more to say about it, but it's Broken Embraces.
Nishimura Media Group entering the U.S. sports market is a huge deal. Banzai!
Hey, mister, a little help?
Sure thing, guys. Whoa! Oh, why did you do that? Sorry, my bad.
You're a monster!
How are you?
Well, hello. I didn't know they could afford to hire supermodels here.
Dan? Wow!
Vicky? You haven't seen that woman in 7 years.
I really don't know where to start, Dan.
Daddy!
I have kids.
Twins.
I'm gonna be an old dad. You're gonna be Uncle Charlie. We can do this.
You guys better pack.
What do we have to pack for?
Camping.
Great. You remind me of that old dude who stole my girlfriend.
What are you saying?
My beef is not with you, old woman.
Thank you.
You ladies ready to play a little ultimate frisbee?
I think so, Mr. Testosterone.
How'd that feel, Gilmore girl?
Oh.
One of my little magic pills.
Watch out for sudden loss of depth perception.
Can't remember where they go.
Catch you later. Mr. Nishimura.
It's an honor. Nice to meet you.
My kids are in there. Sorry, the zoo closes at 3.
We are in the zoo. We're in the gorilla enclosure. Don't look at him in the eyes. Just look away. Every member is down! Penguins! Oh! Charlie! I'm all out of love. So lost without you.
Yeah. It's that bad, people. If you've been keeping up with my top 30 worst movies of all time, you know I got this at number 20 on my list of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And I stick by that. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. You know a movie is bad when they can't even decide who to release it under, because this was originally a Touchstone movie. But then Disney decided to take it over because why the fuck not? No, seriously, why the fuck not? It's kind of like the opposite of Gone Fishing, when, you know, all the marketing had it under Disney, and then Touchstone all of a sudden took over at the last minute, even though they don't change the studio credits on the DVD for it. But trust me, Gone Fishing is Citizen Kane compared to this garbage here. So let me just kind of sum this up here, because I've gone into greater detail about how much I hate this film. John Travolta and Robin Williams star as best friends and business partners for 30 years, and their Manhattan public relations firm is on the verge of a huge business deal with a Japanese company. With 2 weeks to sew up the contract, Dan gets a surprise. A woman he married on a drunken impulse nearly 9 years before, played by the late Kelly Preston, who was, of course, married to John Travolta. She shows up telling him that he's the father of her twins, now 7, and she'll be in jail for 14 days for political protest. So let's throw in another bad Robin Williams comedy while we're at it with Father's Day. But Dan volunteers to keep the tykes, although he's uptight and clueless. So is Charlie, because there's literally a scene in the movie where they're baby-proofing the entire apartment. For a 7-year-old. 2 7-year-olds. With Charlie's help, is there any way they can be dad and uncle, meet the kids' expectations, still land the account, and will you even give a shit about this movie when you're done with it? I mean, this movie is just... wow, it is one of the most detestable things I have ever seen in my entire life. You want to know what this movie really was? This was nothing but watching talented actors screaming and acting stupid and just being ridiculously dumb for 90 minutes. That's all this movie was. You see it in the trailer there, the stupid jokes. I mean, some really offensive jokes when you really think about it with the Japanese people in here, but just nothing happens in this movie. Nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever. Like, supposedly this was a film that was released under the Disney regime before the new regime took over, but yeah, use that as an excuse. Like, this is the type of movie that I would say to anybody out there who's bad-mouthing the live-action remakes and saying it's the biggest Disney disaster in history. No. This shit right here is the biggest Disney disaster in history. This movie is ungodly awful. This is one of the most unfunny, the most obnoxious, the most annoying, the most insufferable movies I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. It's that bad of a movie. This is a film that had such a ripple effect because they were supposed to do a Wild Hogs 2 after this, and they never did it because this movie flopped. Not only that, they had One in Rome come out a couple months later, which was also terrible and did poorly at the box office. And then later on that year, they had You Again, which was also another film that flopped at the box office. So basically, Wild Hogs 2 and pretty much any comedy they had. This movie basically kind of led to the beginning of the downfall of Touchstone Pictures, because they were gone within like less than 6 years after this movie came out. I mean, that's how bad this movie is. The ripple effect this thing caused. I mean, the live-action remakes from Disney are not you could say that those are the biggest Disney disasters of all time. I would go as far as to say that the live-action Disney films between 97 and 2000 were much, much worse than those live-action remakes. But regardless, no matter what anybody tells you, this is the biggest disaster in Disney history. This movie was an abomination. It was unbelievably awful. It was not funny. It wasted so many good talents. I've gone into greater detail about this. You can go check out the video. I'll leave a link to it in the corner. It's a terrible movie. It's a terrible, terrible movie. Avoid Old Dogs like the plague. This may be the worst movie I saw in 2009. I could be wrong on that, because I don't know if I have anything up before that, but I think I did have this as the worst movie of 2009. This is the pinnacle of bad comedies released in 2009. And there were a lot of bad comedies, but this one was the bottom of the barrel. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here, which is not a great movie either, but it is certainly a lot better than Old Dogs, and that is Ninja Assassin.
Ninja? That's the word you're afraid to say?
Okay, your first mistake was releasing this on Thanksgiving weekend. We've known time and time again that an R-rated movie like this does not play well over Thanksgiving weekend, and yet they still continue to do it. But not only that, the fact that they have that trailer literally begins with somebody going ninja, like this is supposed to be a serious action movie, and they have that in there. Like, could you say it in a much more, could you say it like you weren't starring in a comedy? But that's the least of this film's problems, because this is the follow-up for James McTeague after what he did with V for Vendetta, which is a great movie. This is not a good movie, and this stars Rain, who I guess they were setting up to be the next big thing after Speed Racer, as a delusion assassin looking for retribution against his former mentor, played by Sho Kosugi. Ninja Assassin explores political corruption, child endangerment, and the impact of violence. Produced by the Wachowski brothers, Joel Silver, and also Silver Pictures, Legendary Pictures as well, Dark Castle Entertainment. And this was co-written by J. Michael Straczynski, who was trying out some scripts at the time. He did the script for Changeling last year, which was not a big hit. And this is definitely not a good film either. Not a bad idea overall, but just, this is a film that I think really suffered because of the editing. This was a movie that was heavily chopped up. The action sequences moved way too fast for their own good. For a movie like this, you need better editing like this. You need to have something like, maybe not Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon levels, but there are much better martial arts movies that you could do with a story like this, with the editing on this. But the editing on here is one of the worst things about it, because they cut everything so quickly that you can't tell what the hell's going on. And it's not like the movie isn't trying. There's a good idea here, and they have people here who can make it work. These are the guys that did The Matrix. Those are some of the best action sequences in film history. And yet they couldn't do that with this film. They did this with V for Vendetta. I mean, this isn't something where it's impossible to do something like this. I mean, this is something where you could easily do it, and the film just kind of doesn't do it. It's like it was completely made in just in a real quick amount of time, because, hey, we want to get this out there for the Thanksgiving crowd, because clearly there will be an audience for this, which, no, there wasn't. Yeah, the film made double its budget back, but nobody remembers this movie. This thing came and went. Critics trashed it. It wasn't a big box office hit overall. Yeah, it made back its money overseas, but here it did not do so well. It brought in only $38 million here in North America, which is still more than the $30 million they spent on it. But maybe they could have spent more money to fix the script, and maybe they would have had something there. But It is what it is. So that's Ninja Assassin. So let's get to some good stuff finally. Let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Viggo Mortensen starring in The Road.
In a moment, the world changed forever.
We won't survive another winter.
But for one family, everything depends on reaching the coast. The real danger was yet to come.
That boy looks hungry.
Look at him, Ian. Shoot him. On November 25th comes the extraordinary journey.
It's like it used to be when the sun came out.
Of a father's fight.
Get down!
For his son's future.
You have to keep carrying the fire.
What fire?
Fire inside.
The Road, rated R.
So this is based off of a Cormac McCarthy book. Of course, the same man who gave us No Country for Old Men. Directed by John Hillcoat, whose last movie was The Proposition, which was a really good Western starring Pierce Brosnan. But this is a film that stars Viggo Mortensen and Cody Smith-McPhee, who would later go on to be nominated for an Oscar for The Year of the Dog, as a father and son in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And the cast also includes Robert Duvall, Guy Pearce, Charlize Theron. And it's a movie that was really, really well done. It's a film that really was well made. The atmosphere is really well done. The cinematography by who did the cinematography for this? Javier Aguirre is very good. I don't know what else this guy has done, but he does a very good job of creating a feel of the world around him, like creating this post-apocalyptic world here. And I see here that his most notable thing that he had done before this just came out the week before. It's the Twilight Saga: New Moon. Talk about a major improvement from the film that came out 5 days prior. I mean, this thing obviously kicks the crap out of that. But for Viggo Mortensen, he rarely makes movies. He'll come out every once in a while and do a film that he's really proud of. And this is definitely one where he really makes it work. And Cody Smith-McPhee starring in a really good starring rookie performance for him, because this is, I think, his first film he ever did. And the atmosphere is there. The feel of the post-apocalyptic world is there as well. It's a really damn good movie. It's a film that I kind of wish did a whole lot better than it did. It kind of came and went. It wasn't a big box office hit overall. And it's a shame because it was a really well-made film. It's a really good movie that keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's one of the best post-apocalyptic movies out there. It's a film I highly recommend checking out, The Road. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to what I think is easily the best movie of the entire week, and that is Disney's latest animated feature, opening up in limited release. The first 2D animated feature they had done since Home on the Range 5 years ago. This one's definitely a whole lot better than Home on the Range, obviously. This is The Princess and the Frog.
Suppose you want to kiss.
Kissing with me. Nice, yes. I am Prince Nothing.
Prince?
I was cursed by a dastardly witch doctor. 1 minute I am a prince, charming and handsome, cutting a rug, and then the next thing I know, I am tripping over these.
Everyone thinks they know the story of the Princess and the Frog.
You must kiss me.
Excuse me?
Please, princess. It will make me human again.
Just one kiss.
Unless you beg for more.
But no one knows what happened after the kiss. Until now.
How did you get way up there? And how did I get way down here and all...
This holiday season, in the tradition of Walt Disney's most beloved classics, comes the story behind the most magical kiss the world has ever known.
It's gonna be good!
Walt Disney Pictures, The Princess and the Frog.
Come. handsome.
I really love the hell out of this movie. I was really excited to see this movie for a couple reasons. One, Disney's first 2D animated film in 5 years. Two, the first big 2D animated feature we had seen since the Simpsons movie 2 years prior to that. And just three, it just looked like a really damn good movie and a film that felt like it was going back to what makes Disney's animated classics so special. I mean, this was a movie that I had a lot of high expectations going into it when I saw it, and I'm really glad that I came out of it feeling very, very happy with what I saw. The story of this is, of course, based off The Frog Princess, and you have the story set in 1920s New Orleans, Louisiana, telling the story of a hard-working waitress named Tiana, played by Annika Noe Rose from Dreamgirls, who dreams of owning her own restaurant. After kissing a prince, played by Bruno Campos from Jessie, who has been turned into a frog by an evil witch doctor, played by Keith David, Tiana becomes a frog herself and must find a way to turn back into a human before it's too late. And really, this is a film that I feel like is just pitch perfect. I mean, one, it's the return of 2D animation, and this is really kind of the film that started what I like to consider that was like the Little Mermaid in the third Disney Renaissance as a whole. I mean, this really is right now the third Disney Renaissance. The second Disney Renaissance was the late 80s, early 90s, and now we're kind of in that third Renaissance between, you know, the late 2000s and the mid 2010s, because that's when Disney was kind of back on track after having a couple of rough years between 2002 and 2007, I think, 2007, because they didn't have anything out in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Not something they owned. So this was technically kind of their Little Mermaid. Like, Meet the Robinsons was their Great Mouse Detective. Walt was their Oliver and Company. This is their Little Mermaid. Although the next movie they would do, the Tangled, kind of got, I don't know. It's kind of hard to decide if Tangled or Winnie the Pooh would be the kind of the rescuers down under. Tangled was not a big hit when it came out at first, but it has gone on to have a major following to it. And Winnie the Pooh really did not do well because they made the stupid decision of releasing Winnie the Pooh on the same day Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out. We'll get to that in 2011 because that's a whole different thing. That's a whole other thing we could talk about altogether. But as far as this movie goes, this is just a great, great movie. I really love the hell out of this movie. I really love these characters overall. You get so attached to Tiana's storyline. I mean, no matter what color your skin is, you can really see her situation here, and you can really buy into the fact that she has all these dreams, and she has the chance to, she's working her butt off. That's one of the things I really like about the movie, is that, you know, the whole thing is that, you know, you can dream all you want to, but in this movie, it's just like, yeah, you can dream, but you also have to work, too, to make it happen. And she works her butt off so much in this movie. Like, she has so many jobs. Like, there's, in the beginning, like, she comes home from one job, sleeps for about 2 seconds, and then she's got to go and get ready for this other job. And she's putting all this money together to buy this restaurant where she thinks, there's a point where she thinks has the money to cover it. And then, the people who are she's buying it from, unfortunately they have another offer to her, and, they basically say, well, because of your background, I mean, you might as well stick to where you're at right now. It's just like, you see her working her butt off just trying to get this dream of hers, and it's like, no matter what you do, life is going to give you, it's like what I've been saying for the last couple of years, life does not give you happy endings at times, and this is kind of one of those examples. But it also works because you just have so many good characters to work with. I love her best friend in this movie. Like, it would have been so easy to make her kind of like a bad guy or so, kind of like an antagonist or something like that. But no, she is more than willing. She's more than just a friend. She really does feel like a real friend to her. Like, she is willing to help her out. She was willing to give her the money to get this restaurant. She was willing to help her out with the dress and all that after she ruins it at this party. I mean, this is a really, really, and she's a really funny Disney character as a whole. She's just a ton of fun on screen. I can't remember who did the voice for her. I think it's Jennifer Cody, if I'm not mistaken, but she makes it work, and she's really a ton of fun in this. All the characters here are a ton of fun. The witch is the doctor in this. Dr. Facilier is one of the great Disney villains. I mean, he's such a fun-looking design overall. The bad guy he's such a good bad guy too. He's got one of the great Disney villain songs of all time, and of course you got the voice of Keith David. How can you go wrong with that? And yeah, it's a fun adventure film overall. The animation is top-notch. The story overall is well done. It's a return to form for Disney. This is the kind of stuff that we want to see from Disney overall. Like, yeah, we can accept... Yeah, we're more than willing to accept the CG animated movies if they're good. I mean, they were proved that they were good, but I want to see them go back to making 2D animated movies like this again. I know it's kind of hard. I know it was kind of hard to do even back then because this was a high-budgeted movie overall, and I don't think this movie was a massive hit when it came. It made. I'd say that it wasn't a massive hit overall, but I know it cost a lot of money to produce. Yeah, it was a movie that cost $105 million to make. It barely made $100 million domestically, but it did eventually make its money back overall thanks to overseas markets with $271 million worldwide. So I guess it did make its money back overall, and it has gone on to have a big cult following in the long run, especially, and not even just a cult following, but just a following in general, because in the years since then, there has been now a refurbishing of Splash Mountain called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and I know this because, well, obviously you can tell if you go online to find it, but, I got this off of Macari whenever they announced this. I guess they were giving these out at D23. One of these Tiana's Bayou Adventure handkerchiefs, and it's really cool. I mean, I'm not a type of person that probably would go on Splash Mountain unless it was not a hot day out. But then again, maybe it is probably the best day to go out on a hot day. I mean, I'm not really much into water rides, honestly, but this is one I probably would want to ride overall, just because I love this movie so much. There are a lot of criticisms that the film has, and yeah, there's a couple of little nitpicky things too. Like one of the things that they don't really catch you up on is when the fact that they get turned into frogs, and all of a sudden they can talk to the dog in this movie. The dog can talk to them. It's never brought up again. Like there's one scene where the dog is questioning saying that is when the dog says Tiana, like the dog is like she knows the dog and all that, but you never hear that dog again. Like that dog never comes back in the movie. It makes no sense why why that even needed to be in there. But like, you know, that was there. You know, there's also the thing that people kind of have against the movie is the fact that you got the first black Disney princess ever, and she spends half of the movie as a frog. Well, then again, what's the point of doing the movie then? I mean, that's something where it's a neat little twist on the Frog Prince storyline overall. Because I've never read the original story, but I could have sworn that she doesn't turn into a frog when that happens, and so they took that idea and said, let's just roll with that. And it works. It works here in this film overall, and I thought it did a very good job of handling that. The music overall is really good. Randy Newman does a very good job with the songs. I mean, it's a great movie, man. It's a film I love to death. This is a movie that anytime it's on television, I gotta watch it because I just love it so much. It's a great movie. The Princess and the Frog, one of the best movies of the year. And yeah, it's a movie that I loved it back then. I still love it now. Great, great film. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last film that we have here. One you probably have not heard of, but you really should, because it really is a damn good movie. Zac Efron, Claire Danes, and the story of me and Orson Welles.
One week in my life. It was the week I fell in love. The week I would make my Broadway debut.
What the hell is it now?
And the week I would meet Orson Welles.
John, this kid's gonna play Lucius. You work for nothing.
Orson! Quiet, I'm negotiating.
Orson's very competitive, very self-centered.
This stage is where history is being written.
Very brilliant.
Okay, listen, people. Nail your words to the back wall, and that goes for the rest of you. Consonants, consonants, consonants. And don't forget the vowels.
And a performance by this guy, Christian McKay, that is so good. I mean, he's got the look of Thomas Lennon from Reno 911, meets the voice of Kelsey Grammer, and man, he plays Orson Welles so well here. This is based off of a Robert Kaplan novel of the same name, set in 1937 New York, where you have a teenager played by Zac Efron, hired to perform in Orson Welles' groundbreaking stage adaptation of William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. He becomes attracted to a career-driven production assistant played by Claire Danes, and this is directed by Richard Linklater. And this is a movie that really kind of came and went, like literally came out. Nobody really ever talked about it. It got lost in the shuffle, but man, it's a film you got to check out. I mean, we talked about actors who were having great years in 2009. Add Zac Efron to the list because he was proven that he's not just the High School Musical kid. He can be a good actor. He proved it with 17 again, and he proves it in this movie where he really gets a chance to shine. And Claire Danes is Claire Danes. Claire Danes is always going to be a good actress, but man, Christian McKay, this is a guy that I really thought was going to be on his way to becoming the next big breakout star. I mean, this guy channeled Orson Welles so well in this movie, and I really don't think he's done anything of true noteworthiness since then. I have to check and see. Yeah, the stuff he's been notable in a couple of things. You see him in Woody Allen's You'll Meet a Tall Dark Stranger. He was in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. He was in Rush. He was in The Theory of Everything. The last thing that he was in that I know that I see of noteworthiness is Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, which kind of came and went overall. But this was a truly strong performance overall, a truly great film, one that you gotta see it, man. This is a really damn good movie. A cast that also includes Ben Chaplin, Eddie Marsan, Kelly Riley, Zoe Kazan. This is one of Richard Linklater's best movies too, one of his more underrated films, and it's just such a good movie, man. It's a movie that just works on so many levels. The acting is great. Richard Linklater does a very good job overall directing this, even though this is not his script overall. I love this movie, man. This is a film that I really, really do love. Another really good underrated film in 2009. See, 2009 had a lot of varying movies. You had some really bad comedies, but then you had a ton of these underrated gems that you don't really think about all that much. They kind of come and go. But, man, I was so lucky to find a lot of these movies growing up, grabbing DVDs from Best Buy and all that, Walmart and FYE and all these places. I mean, movies like this are why I'm glad I have this job, because I get the chance to tell people about movies like this, and yeah, it's something that definitely needs to be seeked out. Me and Orson Welles, seek this movie out. You will not be disappointed by it by any means.